So, the final WWE pay-per-view of 2022. And what a way to end it with Survivor Series WarGames. Cannot wait to talk about it. Let's go.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Yes! You just made the list!
Incoming Brock Lesnar.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stuart Irvine and welcome to my solo review of WWE Survivor Series WarGames review. So as I said in the intro, the final WWE pay-per-view of 2022. We're not going to have anything in December that's kind of very refreshing for my mind, and it's just really good. So, so obviously if you like, this is probably the last WWE review of the year. If you like what you hear, what you watch, what you see, please like and subscribe. That'd be really appreciated. So going into this pay-per-view, I was really excited in the sense of first time we're having a WarGames match on the main roster. We have one, not one, but two. Obviously, I haven't had them since the WarGames in NXT, and they were really fun. So I couldn't wait to see what twist they're gonna put on this one. Obviously, we had the one with Sami Zayn being is he gonna turn on the bloodline? Is he gonna join his friend? Like that little thing there. We had that. We had that triple threat for the US title. Seth Rollins defending against Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. That I thought would be a good match. We had Finn versus AJ. Yeah, all kinds of really cool matches. And the good thing is I like about this pay-per-view, it was only 5 matches. 5 matches. Obviously, the first two WarGames matches are going to get most of the time. Little matches in between. I was just excited because it was refreshing to know that I'll probably only watch a 3.5 hour pay-per-view. It's a nice bite size than watching AEW Full Gear. It's run about 4 hours of just 10 matches. And they do good there, but I just mentally can't handle watching 10 matches in 4.5 hours. It's not good for my mental health. So, and it's really hard to review it, as you found out with my last review. It took me a while to get through it. So, so I was really looking forward to it in the sense of I just want to see how they're going to produce these WarGames matches. They teased them up quite nicely. So, enough of me rambling on. Let's go and dive straight in to the first match. And what a shocker. It was a WarGames match, but it was the women's WarGames match, where Team Damage Control, with support with Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley joining their side, and with Team Bianca, with Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch, the returning Becky Lynch. So let's go and talk about this. Really interesting, and obviously I was intrigued to see what happened in the match. Let's talk about this. Let's go. So we start off with the women's WarGames match with Team Damage Control versus Team Bianca. Obviously going into this one, obviously this has been boiling him up ever since Damage Control debuted at SummerSlam a couple of months ago. It's kind of been a back and forth. Obviously the last match between, I think, Bianca Belair and Bayley was at Crown Jewel. Again, didn't watch, as you can guess, don't watch the Saudi Arabia shows for obvious reasons. But so obviously this is kind of probably the end game for it, probably the final nail in the coffin of this feud, because we're going on for a couple of months now, and it's kind of I guess this is the end of it. So again, my thoughts going in was the idea that I was just curious to see how they would do it, like the WarGames match. It was the women's one and the men's. I want to see if this still has the same kind of high intensity quality that we got from the NXT versions, because they were pretty, most of the time, fun. I never seen anyone that was bad. And to be fair, this one isn't. The still has the fun factor. It's still really good. It had all the stuff you expect from a WarGames match. It had kind of had weapons. It had high intensity use of cages. It had back and forths. It has high intensity moves. It had all the snippets of everything you would love about it. But the funny thing about this match, it did lack a bit of a story that would take over the edge. It was more just a kind of two teams fighting it out. And to be fair, that's kind of what WarGames is. But it's kind of it's more fun when it's got a little bit of a story, as the main event kind of had that made that just a little bit better, in my opinion. But so obviously this one was kind of cool. Obviously it was the champ Bianca Belair starting off against Dakota Kai. Makes sense. Dakota Kai has experience in a WarGames match. Bianca Belair, I don't think, has been in one in NXT. So we had that, obviously, and then they back and forth for 5 minutes. We had obviously Bianca Belair powerbombing, nicely powerbomb onto Dakota Kai into the cage. Then after that, obviously Asuka, because Io Sky came in, and it was a 2-on-1. So that was cool. We got a nice double team move by them. Obviously Bianca Belair's fighting them more valiantly, but couldn't get past. Then Asuka came in. We had a nice little face-off between Asuka and Io Sky, a match that I don't think we've ever seen in WWE, so I would like to see that in the future. Maybe that's on my bucket list of 2023 of matches I would actually want to see. Yes. But then obviously, so we had that. That was really cool, back and forth. Then obviously the crazy Nikki Cross is back. Obviously, also really cool. She got kendo sticks, she got trash lids, you name it, she got it. I like the idea that Nikki Cross slammed the door in Asuka's face, who's trying to stop her from getting in. Slammed it in her face. Love it. Nikki Cross, the crazy Nikki Cross, it's about damn time. And hopefully they can book her the way that we all hope she would have been booked. Because that's what everyone loved about Nikki Cross. The crazy Nikki Cross from NXT. So that'd be cool. So hopefully they do something good with that. That was cool. Obviously we had that. We had trash can lids. We had kendo sticks. We had Nikki Cross doing the thing at the top where she was climbing up to the top of the cage. Everyone was there. She was kind of waiting for the moment, and then she's in a crossbody from the top, taking everyone out. Crazy Nikki Cross, love it. So that was really cool. Obviously we had obviously Nikki Cross, and then obviously Bayley came in. She brought in 2 ladders and a chair. She had some cool thing where she put the table up between the rings, and there was a bit for a moment where Bianca Belair was kind of laying on that table, like, you know, dead the stair, just kind of like she's out of it in the middle of the 2 rings and with a steel bit in the middle. That was cool. Then Miriam came in, got multiple trash cans. She was hitting people. I think she threw a trash can at the Coco. I was flying in midair. Really cool stuff there. Then obviously we had this thing where everyone was hitting superplexes after superplexes. That was cool. Then obviously Rhea Ripley comes in, doing what Rhea Ripley's been doing, dominating, destroying everyone. Then obviously she took control, and then Becky Lynch was the final woman. She came in, and then WarGames begin. And yeah, some cool stuff. Obviously we got that really cool thing where obviously that leg drops that Becky does in the middle, put 2 in the second rope, put a trash can on Io Sky, and she hit one from the top rope onto that. That looks like a really cool spot. Then we obviously got stuff like was it Asuka using the mist on Rhea Ripley. That was really cool because obviously now she's there's many things in these WarGames, and there's one thing that always happens in a WarGames match is Asuka always seems to use her mist in any match she's in, by the way. And also Io Sky has to do some sort of big move from the top. If you watch the last time she was in a WarGames match, she done the crossbody. This time she had an amazing moonsault from the top of the cage. Looked amazing. It's kind of a staple of that match now, and a staple she has to do every time she's in the ring. It's just a thing. Obviously, we had a nice little exchange, a nice acknowledgement between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross with the whole thing with the whole thing of former being tag team partners and friends. Obviously, she tried to handcuff Alexa Bliss to put it to the rope so she could be out of the match, but it backfires, and then they handcuffed each other together, and Alexa Bliss hits a nice electric chair onto a set-up chair and took them 2 out. Then we obviously had Damage Control and Damage Control versus Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. 3-on-2, but Stu had the advantage. Kind of how the match ended. Was it Becky Lynch hitting the rock bottom? I know it's called the Manhandle Slam, but it's basically the rock bottom. So basically, rock bottom to Dakota Kai. Then obviously Bianca Belair hit a KOD. Kiss of death on Bayley onto the cage, so she was out. But the kind of match ended with Becky Lynch setting up again. They set up a table later early on. We all know how this wrestling thing works. You set it up, if you set up a table, someone's gone through it. It is the rules. It is the rules. Obviously, I forgot to say, was it Rhea Ripley took out Bianca Belair, I think, for a table early on, and the one was in the slap in the corner. But this one, it was another one because they brought 2 in, set up on like the corner, top of the cage. Put both, Dakota Kai and Io Sky on it, and then Becky Lynch went from the top, hits that massive leg drop that she's known for. She's done it many times off ladders and everything, so it's kind of a thing. Breaks the table, both are out, all the teams are out, pins Dakota Kai, or she pins both of them, I think. 1, 2, 3, and Team Bianca win. And I mean, again, it's right result. I think it would have been nice to have Damage Control maybe win this one, because they haven't really been booked quite strong ever since they debuted. I think Bayley's lost like 2 or 3 title matches in a row. Yes, they are the Women's Tag Team Championship champions, but they lost those and then won them back. So it's like, and I haven't seen them defend them as much. So I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe it's a reset at 2023. Maybe they can do something. Maybe there's going to be dissent. Maybe Bayley's going to be like, well, what's the point of this group? Maybe it's going to be like up their game, and that's where they're going to book it, type thing. I don't know. It'd be really cool if they did do that. But yes, obviously the Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. I don't know where they can go because they can't do that match again. So I don't know if it's Bianca Belair's book has been okay and been good. Obviously, it's more of a no-nonsense, straight-up kind of booking where it kind of like she's champion, where she backs up what she says. It's a bit crazy at times, but she backs it up. That's always a good championship thing. And yeah, I don't know. What they're going where the other women can go here. I mean, obviously, I like the idea of a Becky Lynch, not Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross kind of feud. That was a feud that I've kind of done in my fantasy booking thing. If you checked out already, if you haven't, that's cool. If you should check it out, I really put a lot of work into that. But I've done that kind of feud because I think it's a feud they should have done, and I think they might do one here, and that'd be fun because I think Alexa Bliss needs that, and obviously Nikki Cross needs to establish how much of a crazy person she is as her new role. So, but yeah, good start to the show. I think it's really fun. Obviously, them kind of matches you got to really go at it. Really, I mean, I think it had a bit of some problems. Obviously, the pacing was a bit off, and yeah, some of the spots didn't really work out. But I think, as I said, it's a great start to the show. You're going to do WarGames. You always start. You've got 2 WarGames. You always start the first one, and then you always do the second, and then you do the last WarGames is the main event. But yeah, it's good opening. Kind of got the mood for the people. It was in Boston of all places, so they probably like this kind of stuff. And yeah, cool stuff here. Good opening, and yeah, I would probably say, yeah, we're going to get a rating 3 out of 5. Really good start. So, but yes, obviously after that we had we're talking about a match that I think we've had before, but that we really haven't acknowledged it as much. It's obviously AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. It's just a normal singles match. Everything's got like triple threats, and this is a normal straight up singles match. And kind of got excited because obviously AJ and Finn Balor are great competitors, one of the greatest wrestlers in, one of the best wrestlers there. So it'd be interesting. It was interesting going in and seeing what kind of match they can pull off. And I think they've done a good match here. So yeah, let's go over and talk about that match. So yes, let's talk about the second match of the night. Obviously Finn Balor going against AJ Styles. I don't think this first meeting they've had, but I think it's first match they've had in a while anyway. Obviously, the whole story going into it was kind of a situation of it's too hard to get used to. This isn't a Vince show anymore, so that means they can acknowledge like why this feud is important, purely for the fact that obviously it's Bullet Club. They actually mentioned Bullet Club. They mentioned that he was a former IWGP whatever champion, Finn Balor and all that kind of stuff. So they actually acknowledge that. That's kind of cool. Makes me think that at some point there is a connection, that they might do a WWE New Japan crossover that again would be mental, by the way. The idea that WWE would do that, I don't think it's coming anytime soon, but the idea that acknowledging that they come from other places is a thing that I'm still got to have to try and get used to, because it's still a thing hasn't crossed my mind yet, because I'm so used to them not acknowledging that it exists. So I like the idea that this whole feud is basically on the idea that basically, was it Finn tried to get AJ to join the Judgment Day? AJ said no. The OC, formerly known as Gallows and Anderson, came back, joined the OC's back, and to kind of start a feud. They had a couple of back and forth feuds, but I like the idea of being AJ and Finn Balor. The idea of who's the better leader. I like the quote. What was the quote they said? Was it AJ was the first? Was it no? Finn Balor was the first, but AJ was the better. And it's like, it's true. I mean, it's a question of who was better, Finn Balor or AJ. I would say AJ just because of that run in 2017. In 2016, 15, 17, that kind of stuff. He was on top of his game, probably one of the best wrestlers outside WWE by far back in those days. So, but that's an opinion. It's my opinion anyway. But yeah, so that was kind of the story going in. So yeah, for the match itself, obviously we got AJ went for like both going for like mask thing. One was it Finn Balor had like a kind of just a dark black mask he went over, that really cool. And obviously we had was it AJ had the mask of like kind of like a gas mask type thing, kind of I like that as well. So it's really good. They're really kind of putting their mask game on there. But yeah, for the match, it was a very technical match early on. Obviously these guys know each other very, very well. So that's kind of how the match started off, how it went. Obviously with AJ working on Finn Balor's leg makes sense, because of what you hear, you know, like hitting his finisher, hurts his leg. They did play into the finish a little bit. Obviously we had, obviously the both opposing teams were accompanying both men. So obviously amount of time before they both started fighting, obviously Dominic Mysterio attacked AJ when she was trying to go for the phenomenal forearm. He was holding onto his leg, or like he tripped him up and he on the apron. Then obviously the OC came on to Dominic Stu took him out, and then they all started fighting in the crowd, and then we never saw from them again. It was kind of nice that the ref didn't like detract them out. It was just they just fought and they went, and that's how you get them out of the match. So they're not involved in the finish. I like it. But yes, obviously after that, obviously Finn Balor took control of the chaos, and kind of he was in control for a bit. Nice back and forth between the two men. But yes, obviously we had Finn Balor trying to hit the Styles Clash on AJ. Just put insult to injury, but AJ countered into and was a nice little counter into the calf crusher. Trying to get that, obviously working on the leg, it makes sense. Then obviously we got a situation where obviously Finn Balor hits like cool moves. Like I think he was like hit like took him up for like a fireman's carry, put him up onto his knees onto the ribs, and obviously hit that kind of move where from the same thing on the fireman carries, and then he lands on his knee. That's an AJ Styles move, so a bit more mind games from Finn Balor there. I like, but AJ was found a way to get out of it. Then obviously was AJ locked in the calf crusher again. Finn Balor found a way to get out. Nice ball back and forth. Nice back and forth there, but then the match ended with just AJ Styles going to the top, hitting a phenomenal forearm. 1, 2, 3, and AJ Styles. This is a nice little fact I learned. Is that's his first pay-per-view win in almost 3 years. Wow, they've really not booked him well in pay-per-views for the last 3 years. He hasn't won a match. That's mental. So yeah, match-wise, it was just a good match. It's fun. Obviously, I think it was more story-driven, a bit more technical, a bit slow-paced than it would be if they just went full-on, like, crazy spot after crazy spot. I think it was a very solid match. Obviously, I think if they gave, obviously it wasn't a WarGames match, give more time, they could have put more stuff in it, but for the time they were given, it was a fun match. It was good. I mean, AJ getting a win looks great. About time that they got a win, because obviously they keep getting losing. Ever since the LC came back, so it's nice to get AJ gets a win, so that start Finn. Still looks good, but I think there's a story there maybe that you might do a thing where, okay, the Judgment Day wasn't there, so he lost. So the only way he could beat them if he needs them. Because they say in commentary this is the best he's ever seen, but he keeps losing. So without the Judgment Day, so maybe there's a story there to be had. Maybe I don't know, but yes, obviously you've got that storyline. What I like about the Judgment Day at the moment, honestly, for me, it's because you forget it used to be won by Edge. Totally forget that now. It's like everyone keeps saying that Finn Balor's a leader. It's not. It's Rhea Ripley by 100% a mile that she's a leader. Obviously, that feud that Dominic's having with Rey Mysterio, his father, is interesting. Obviously, that video that him attacking him at the Thanksgiving, it was kind of cool. Not cool in the sense of what happened. It's cool that the idea that he actually filmed that and done that. And I think that feud, when it happens, I don't know if it's going to happen at the Royal Rumble or they're going to stretch it out for that WrestleMania payday when Dominic Mysterio goes against his father. They're building up so well that you want to hate him for being like a spoiled brat kind of guy who can do that to his father type thing. It's set up to be a really, really personal feud, and I like the way they're really stretching it out. So when that match does happen, it's going to be a lot, I'm going to be really invested in that. So I think that's where they're going next. Obviously with Finn and AJ, I don't know. Probably it's going to be like Judgment Day going to fight in 3 fronts. And it wouldn't surprise me to set up a thing where Edge comes back at some point. Because obviously, Judgment Day still haven't got their kind of comeuppance from kind of hit Concerto on Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix. So that boy, he'll probably come back in the Royal Rumble. So we can have a match there. Or he'll probably come back, set up a match between, it'd be like, I don't know if probably going to be a match that I actually would want to see is Beth Phoenix versus Rhea Ripley, that you never thought you would have wanted to see, but you kind of do now, just to see. Rhea Ripley is getting really cocky and she's getting away with a lot of things, so why not see Beth Phoenix come back and kicking her ass? It would be a very, very fun match to watch. So yeah, it's a lot of cool. Judgment Day's turned into a kind of a storyline that was really bad to now like turned into something that's actually really intriguing and actually is actually a good thing. So I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, AJ getting his first 43 years is always good. So yeah, let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Ronda Rousey and Shotzi. Again, this is a feud that's kind of just been a simple thing of, I think Shotzi won a kind of gauntlet or battle royal, something like that, to earn the opportunity to face a heel Ronda Rousey that has been sorely asked for, because she's basically been acting like a heel anyway, and her Twitter game is quite good anyway, so the idea that she now is that character on screen makes total sense in my eyes. Obviously, she's now aligned with, Shayna Baszler. I think it's a great idea. the way that, and also it might set up a nice, like the idea that they're a team now. And obviously Shotzi's, I think, with Raquel Gonzalez, I'm still calling her that. And so obviously they're going to be a team. So I've got a feeling this is going to set up a kind of, they're trying to slowly but surely build that tag team division, women tag team division, with multiple good, putting people together, making them into teams. I think that's what they're doing. That's what I was thinking when I saw this in the shoes. Nothing to do with this match, but that's the way it looks. But anyway, about this feud, Ronda Rousey looks really good, in the sense that, yeah, it's just good to see her as a heel. It just makes sense. And obviously, was it Shayna Baszler? It's a damn shame that obviously Sharia Jafir and I can't remember another name weren't, because we could have had that kind of four horseman kind of thing, but wasn't to be. But I like the idea that Shayna Baszler is kind of I don't know how we're Ronda Rousey. We need a heavy kind of in a way mouthpiece in a way, because I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, so when it comes to the feud, obviously it's just Shotzi proving that she belongs in this match and belongs to be in this title match. It's her first singles title match in the company. And obviously I like the idea that Ronda Rousey's not taking her seriously at all. Cocky, arrogant champion. Makes sense. I like that in a champion. Anyway, but when it comes to the match, it's very short. I think it's like, I don't know, 10, 15, a bit less than that. It didn't have to be long, because out of all the feuds in there, it doesn't have to be this long. It doesn't have to be like a really big match. It's just a simple match to, not call the crowd, but you just had the WarGames match. You've had that match, really big match between Finn Balor and AJ, and this match is kind of okay. That's cool to go on. It's a good match. It's solid. It does the job, and it's kind of what we got. Obviously, we got with it Ronda Rousey kind of like early on locking in the ankle lock, but obviously Shotzi got out of the way. We got obviously I like the thing with obviously Shotzi tries to do a slam. Suicide dive outside the ring, but obviously Shayna Baszler pulls Ronda Rousey out of the way and takes the bullet, as they say, takes the hit. So I like the idea that she's trying to save her friend. That'll probably turn into something at some point. But obviously, so obviously then you got Shotzi goes to the top and hits some sort of like cool slam that's really cool. We've got Shotzi really going after Ronda Rousey, kind of prove. I think it's like, I like the idea that proving that she belongs in this match, and in a way, she did kind of prove that in a way. But then obviously Ronda Rousey did get control of the match. She was in control. She was toying with her. But then obviously the match kind of turned around on his head when they were fight on the apron, and obviously Ronda Rousey tried to go for a move, and obviously Shotzi just hit her with a lucky punch. There seems to be a buzzwords these days on her, and obviously she was out, and the commentary team was really pushing hard to say, yeah, this could be our opportunity. She tried to do some sort of move on top, but it looked like it botched a little bit, so it looked a bit clunky. It didn't look great. But yes, obviously then the kind of big spot of the match was like Shotzi fighting outside. Shayna Baszler got up trying to attack. Shotzi was holding her own, kind of pushes them into the crowd, and then she was on top of the balancing on the barricade, and then done a crossbody onto them and onto members of the crowd, or some fans. When I thought of that, I thought of the old when they tried to find the secrets of wrestling, and he used to say, "Well, did you know she was a stunt granny?" And I was like, that's what I thought. They're part of the show. Obviously, they would be, because obviously that would be really lawsuit central if you did that without actually asking them. So if you ask a fan who's going to be involved in the match, they would say yes, wouldn't they? So that's what that kind of felt. So that was it. Was it? Yeah. So obviously after that, they obviously took it out. Then got in the back. Shotzi got back in. Ronda Rousey in the ring, but obviously couldn't capitalise. Ronda Rousey hit like a judo fall from the top rope. Got a near fall there, but obviously she was. But she finished her off by hitting the Piper's Pit on Shotzi. Then her patented armbar. Shotzi taps. Ronda Rousey wins, and is still your SmackDown Women's Champion. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know. The SmackDown Women's Division does feel a bit lacking at the moment, credible. I mean, obviously, there's a good chance. Obviously, Charlotte Flair's not back yet, so we all know when she comes back, she's probably involved in the feud. But yeah, I think they're slowly building a women's division there. But I wouldn't surprise if Ronda Rousey's going to be a long-term champion, trying to build her up like they did with Roman, and be like two long-term champions. It wouldn't be the worst idea for the SmackDown Women's Championship, but I just don't know. I can't see any credible threats, except for if Sasha Banks come back. I don't know when that'd be. Probably Royal Rumble now. I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see what they do there. But yeah, cool. It was nothing special. It was a good match. It's solid. Nothing really. Was it Shotzi did show her was able to hold her own, showing her that she belongs. I like that. Similar story there. Hopefully they can build on that in the future. So I cannot wait to see where that goes. But yeah, solid match. It was good. So obviously after that we talk about the only other championship match on the card. Obviously we're talking about a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship, where Seth freaking Rollins was defending his title against the former champion Bobby Lashley and another former champion in Austin Theory. So it's going to be a very good match. Let's talk about it. So let's talk about this triple threat match for the United States Championship with Seth freaking Rollins defending his title against Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Obviously, was it Seth freaking Rollins won it from I think of Bobby Lashley a couple of weeks ago. Obviously we had a situation of obviously Austin Theory was kind of like he done a weird thing where he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on this US title and lost. Didn't know a lot of people online. I can totally get why, because it's like a situation of it's not supposed to be for the US title. He's already won it, so why would he cash in? And he lost. So is it a waste of the Money in the Bank briefcase? Yeah, kind of is. But it's just fine, because obviously I think the reason they done it is for the story, that they did kind of say here that he's not messing around anymore. He doesn't want to take selfies. He's not having a good time. He now wants to go. No, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm just going to be no nonsense. And that's what we got here in this match. Well, I think Seth Rollins is face now, I think. Obviously, it's been a while since I watched it, so that's cool. Makes sense. And obviously, Bobby Lashley's been killing it the last couple of months. Even if he did lose to Brock at Crown Jewel, they have booked him as the monster that he is. He is a badass, and that's what Bobby Lashley should always be booked at. But yeah, for this match itself, was fun. It was good. Typical triple threat rules here with the situation, or way they do triple threats is the idea, back and forth. Obviously, I like the idea that Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins we don't want Austin Theory in this match, so they team up just for a little bit. Every time he comes back in, we chucked him out. Nobody wants him there. It's a bit horrible, but it's kind of true. Yes, and obviously a situation that has their moments to shine in charge. Obviously, we had a really cool thing with Seth Rollins doing some chops on Austin Theory. I think very good chops as well, probably because they John Moxley. In a way, we had a cool thing obviously later on with Austin Theory using the steel steps on, or was it early on steel steps on Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley, really showing the aggression, this new aggressive side of Austin Theory that I like very much. And they always forget that it's triple threats. That means it's no GQ, so you can use weapons. I always forget that. For guys who are wrestling for many years, you would think I would know that. But yes, obviously you got that, and obviously we got a lovely multiple kind of suicide dives on the outside with Seth Rollins on both Austin Theory on both sides of the ring, and Bobby Lashley really cool there. Obviously we got a lovely looking counter of a powerbomb. I think it was going for the powerbomb, and it was a nice counter. But I think Seth done the counter there. It's really cool. Kind of cool stuff. Also, we had Bobby Lashley hitting the hurt lock on Seth Rollins, and then on one side, and obviously we got Austin Theory trying to hit the sleep on the other, and it's just a nice visual of kind of Bobby Lashley's trying to choke out. Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory's trying to choke out Bobby Lashley, and it's just I like those kind of things when you three moves at the same time. It's really cool. Then obviously, yes, and obviously Bobby Lashley found a way to get out of that and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, with Seth Rollins hit the pedigree on Bobby Lashley for a near fall. Near the end, we had some really cool back and forth segments, back and forth little moves. Obviously, both showing how amazing they are and how good they are. But yeah, kind of they had a cool thing. But basically, near the end, it's really cool. We got Bobby Lashley locking the hurt lock on both Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. Nice little image there, shows over how badass he is that he can hit on two men at the same time. But the finish was a bit of a strange one, this one. Obviously with Seth Rollins hitting a superplex into that Phoenix Splash situation. But then while he was going, I think he was gone, it was like he done the suplex, just about to lift him up, do the Phoenix Splash. Then Bobby Lashley hit a spear, but then when he hit a spear, he was out. For a bit, and then obviously, basically Austin Theory took advantage of the situation. He took the pin, 1, 2, 3, and he is your new WWE United States Champion. And interesting choice. I was thinking of Seth Rollins retain here, but I could see why they would go this route. But Yeah, it's basically a nice little way of basically like the old some hits finisher, you capitalise on it. But normally they chucked them outside the ring, but didn't have this in this situation. But yeah, it's cool stuff there. But I think Austin Theory is champion. I think it's too soon. I think it would have been nice if they built up a bit more of like. But then I guess if like they've lost everything now, they've got to prove that. Kind of have to prove that this new attitude works, and he wins the championship. But I mean, if it means a situation where he starts doing open challenges and wants say, and is having this championship now, he wants to prove that he is better by in the ring, then I'm up for it. But I don't know. I'll have to find out on Monday what they do. But Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley probably have a feud where they look each other in that ring after the match. I think that's where they're going to go. But yeah, I think this feud has legs, so I'm not against it carrying on to maybe the start. Possibly the end of the year, possibly 2023 would be cool. So yeah, I think it was just a really fun, really enjoyable match. Triple threat, about all the stuff, all the spots they had. Everyone had near falls. You had like weapons being used, that kind of stuff, and the finish was really creative. So I like it in that sense. So yeah, fun match, really good. I really like the way they've been booking the US title recently. It's kind of similar to how I want to book it in a sense. They're trying to make it important, and it does feel important. With obviously Seth Rollins being champion, obviously Austin Theory being champion, but it'd be interesting to see what he does with it. That makes it if it's just going to be a transitional period, or is it going to be like they're going to make a hot potato of that title? I don't know, but they've done a good job making that title feel important. Hasn't felt this important in a very long time, so I look forward to see what they do more in the end of the year and 2023. But yes, obviously we've got through all those matches. Now let's go and talk about the main event, the men's WarGames match between the Bruising Brutes, with the help of Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens being on their side, and the entirety of the Bloodline, with obviously Roman Reigns, Sosa, Sami Zayn, and the Usos facing off all in a WarGames match. Cannot wait to talk about this main event because it has a very interesting finish, and I cannot wait to talk about it. Let's go. Let's talk about the main event. So yes, the main event of WarGames is what shook a WarGames match, but it's the men's. Obviously, we start off with the women's, but now we end with the men's. As we said, it is the five-man team of the Bruising Brutes with Sheamus, Rich Holland, and Butch, aka Pete Dunne, teaming up with Drew McIntyre and a returning KO, Kevin Owens, going against the Bloodline with Roman Reigns, Sosa, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Sami Zayn, and the Usos. So this match is kind of again we'll talk about like the kind of maybe the women's match had more action, bit more crazy spots to expect for a WarGames match. This was the one that had the story, and I love the story going into this is probably set up very nicely. Is the story of can the Bloodline trust Sami Zayn? Because obviously his best friend in KO is on the other end of the team, and KO's been trying to say turn on them before they turn on you. Kind of situation of I like the stuff with Jay's kind of like never trusted him, and he's kind of been suspicious of him from day one. He doesn't like him. So the whole thing they set up was basically talking outside on SmackDown. He lied to Jay's face, saying that he wasn't talking to anyone. Obviously, bits for the show that I think brilliant segments these are is the idea of obviously Jay's going to Roman Reigns and we need to get rid of him now. This guy is a liability. He needs to get rid of him now, and that's what I think they're gonna go for. And then the whole thing with Roman, the close up of Roman with like Paul Heyman in the background just looking. And then Roman just like, get me Sammy. And it's just the idea of like, oh no, where's this going to go? And then we obviously had a nice segment with them talking before the match, sitting and going like, I'll look him in the eye and I'll see what his true loyalties lie. And nice little back and forth there. And I like the thing where it's just like, Jay's like, what do you think? Well, I know where I can see it in his eyes. I know where he's going to, where he turns. Made it so ambiguous that like, we don't know. So like, okay, so like it's perfect little tease. I love stuff like this to make you go into it saying. So the basically the story's match: will Sami Zayn turn on the Bloodline, or will they turn on him, or would he help his friend, the Bloodline, and turn on his friend? That was the thing, and that little things like that make you want to get. Just little things put you over the edge to really want to watch a match like this, and I did, and it was freaking great. It was a great match. It was a great main event here. Obviously, I like the idea. Obviously, start off with Pete Dunne being in multiple WarGames matches makes sense. Jay, I think, he hasn't been in WarGames, but he's obviously the trusted lieutenant, as they call it, so it makes sense to put him in first. We've got Pete Dunne doing manipulation with the fingers, obviously injured from I think weeks ago, so obviously working on that. Then obviously Rich Holland came in after that 2-1 because obviously they won the advantage, the Bruising Brutes team, and so back and forth there, obviously both working on the arm. Then obviously I like the idea after this, obviously the next person would be someone from the bloodline, but it's possibly Jimmy was going to go out, and Roman's like, no, let Sammy prove himself. And I like the story here of obviously Sami Zayn and Jay hate each other, or kind of more Jay hates Sami Zayn. And through this segment, this bit 2-minute bit, I like how Sami Zayn keeps saving. Jay doesn't want his help, but Sami Zayn keeps saving him. Like there was a bit when he was going for, was it one of the things like Pete Dunne or someone went for a move, and then Sami Zayn pulled him out of the way and saying, I've got you, but Jay doesn't trust him at all. So that was a cool, nice little thing there. Obviously then Drew McIntyre come in, and then he was in control, but being the crap. Then obviously again Sami Zayn's do saving Jay, trying to do that. Then Jimmy does come in, he brings in 3 tables. This is going to go. Then they all three fight, or everyone fights. Again, Josh Stu doesn't trust Sami Zayn in this match. But then obviously then KO came in. He brought in chairs in the ring. We got KO hit put Jimmy through a table. That was really cool. Obviously we had to, I think it was, if I remember correctly, I can't remember what the move was, but yes, KO just basically slammed it through a table. KO was just kicking ass at this point. Then obviously Sosa came in, and he just basically on fire. I like the idea that Drew McIntyre and Sosa, I think that's how you say his name. I might be getting his name completely wrong. Facing off, obviously it was him that cost him the title at Clash at the Castle. So that was a nice little bag for between there. Then obviously we got Sheamus is next. Then someone stops Sheamus from coming in, but then Sheamus just slams the door in his face. That kind of cool stuff. So he takes him out. So then he comes in the ring, then he beats everyone. We had a nice thing where later on we had a thing where everyone's hitting the chops to the chest. Everyone was doing it. I think the battle of the, I can't remember what it's called, but yes, they hit that. That was really cool. Obviously Sheamus hitting a white noise off the top rope was really cool on. Can't remember if it was Sami Zayn or something like that, but it's like really cool stuff there. It was just a lot of cool stuff. Everyone was doing it, like everyone was down, and then final person left. The tribal chief comes in, and WarGames begins, and basically like all teams facing off. One team on one side, one team the other. You got to have that spot in a WarGames match. It's got to be done. Then obviously we got and then obviously they said the attack with both teams doing the chops that Sheamus do. Then we go Sheamus hits a roll kick on Sosa, but then Roman Reigns hits a spear on Sheamus for a near fall. Pete Dunne, as I'm calling him, I'm not calling him Butch. Pete Dunne gets out of the way of Jay's super kick, and it accidentally hits Jay. Like, this is what the little nuances. Super kicks Sami Zayn in the face. Did he mean it, or was it an accident? We don't know, because for a while Sami Zayn was out of the match. Then obviously we've got the Usos hitting like a 1D off the top that looked really cool. Roman Reigns hit a spear on Rich Holland through the table, that was cool. Then obviously Sosa hits, I think he's finished like spinning Soho, it's called, and Drew McIntyre. That was cool. The Bloodline were in control at this point. Then KO comes in, he hits Stunner on Solo. Then obviously KO and Roman Reigns fight it out, because obviously there's still bad blood from that feud they had like a year ago. I still think that's one of his better feuds, better than probably Roman, not Roman and Brock. So it's my opinion. Then obviously we've got that. Obviously we got one. Then you got KO hitting a pop-up powerbomb and a stunner Roman Reigns. This is how the finish ends that I really like. KO stops the ref from hitting the 3 count, because KO had the match won. Stop the ref from putting on the foot, like to put 1, 2, and then stop the 3 count. Then obviously like the back and forth, and then all of a sudden. This is the bit. He always likes like, friends. This is the moment. He's made his choice, but was it just an instinct? And then boom, a low blow and KO. Sami Zayn has made his choice. KO goes into the corner. He hits a haluba kick. Jay goes to the top, hits a big splash. 1, 2, 3. The Bloodline wins, and Sami Zayn has made his choice. He wants to be a part of the family. So, but what I like about this is he doesn't enjoy doing it. Hitting that haluba kick, he did it, and he just hated it ever since. In that face, like great character work here by Sami Zayn. It's just it just shows how good he is. Like, everyone knows how great he is in the ring, but his character work has been top notch for the last couple of years. But this is the best stuff he's done by far. Loving Sami Zayn at the moment. But I like the idea that like, his face was like he doesn't want to do it, but then he kind of just embraces it. But there's always that feeling of Roman's accepting him, but Sami Zayn kind of did it because he had to, because he wants to be a part of them so bad as a family. But he kind of has regret of what he's done. That's what I like. It's just so much emotion in one face. Brilliant stuff. But yes, obviously then, and then there was a nice thing right at the end when Jay was like looking at him going, what the hell, and then finally embraces him. And the Bloodline win the first War Games. And and the idea that Sami Zayn turned on his friend. To be fair though, if you look at KO, it's like you should have seen it coming. He's turned on his friend how many times during these things? So, you know, it's like you can't be sitting there being a bit annoyed that you know, he done the same that he did. You know, there's got to be talk about that surely going in. But great ending to the match. Storyline makes me really want to watch SmackDown now to find out what happens next. That storyline, Bloodline, when they turn him, Sami Zayn's going to become the most hottest babyface on the planet. It's about time. I cannot wait for it, and it's going to be great. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Jay, and now Jay is fully accepts Sami Zayn, so what are you going to do there? When are you going to turn? I wouldn't surprise if they turn and Sami Zayn's going to be the one. They keep talking about who's going to take the title. Everyone thinks Cody. I think Cody, because obviously they have some like build up to that. But maybe Sami. But then I don't know. But I think I like the idea that Sami's going to be like, maybe build it up and maybe start the Royal Rumble, or maybe push it to maybe near WrestleMania when he turns. But they're gonna stretch this out. But when it does happen, when they finally turn on Sami Zayn, it's they're gonna be more hated than they already are anyway. But yeah, great end to the show. I really enjoyed this pay-per-view, and I cannot wait to see where it goes in the future. But one more thing we've got to do before the end is we've got to wrap up this show. And I put my final thoughts on the last pay-per-view of 2022 by WWE. So let's wrap up this review. So this is my thoughts on Survivor Series WarGames. And it's a really good show. I think if they can start doing more shows where it's just like WrestleMania is doing a different example. They do shows where it's just like takeover level, just 5 matches, really good build, and just do that. It's much more better than watching 10 matches in AEW. I love AEW. We had a bit of a bump last couple of months, but 10 matches, that's a lot of matches, and it's really hard to watch them sometimes. Not because of the quality, it's a lot of stuff to watch, like, especially with UK. Anyway, but it's not the point. Really solid end to the year for a very mixed year for WWE, in the sense it started off like the usual, and then it's kind of ended in a kind of excitement. They cannot wait for WWE pay-per-view for the first time in a long time. So I cannot wait. It's going to be the possibly first full year Triple H in charge. Starts January and see what he can do with a full year in charge. If this pay-per-view finish or anything starting the pay-per-view, then really go by. It's going to be exciting times to be a WWE fan. Anyway, so obviously good match. Obviously the opening, the women's War Games match was a good opener. Had a bit of problems, but it was really fun, and it's a great way to start the show. Obviously, you had Finn Balor versus AJ. Good match here. Obviously, I think a bit more time they could put a better match on, but for what the story going for, I like it. It worked. Obviously, the Ronda Rousey going against Shotzi was a solid match, but obviously there's not much we do. It's just kind of cool the crowd in a way. And obviously Ronda Rousey, I'm intrigued to see what to do with that. But match wise, which is good. It's all right. Then obviously after that, obviously the triple threat for the US title. Very fun match. We enjoyed it. I think was it Austin Theory winning it? Strange choice, but I kind of get it for the story they're going for. It might make more sense obviously on Monday when they show obviously what they're going to do with him after that. So but as a match, healthy, entertaining, a lot of high spots, a lot of cool stuff. It's very fun, that kind of stuff, and it's set up for the main event. That was just really good storyline wise. Maybe not as less crazy as the women's one, but storyline wise, really good here, really good. The whole the tease of will Sami do it, and then when he did turn on his old friend and join properly embraced, prove his loyalty to the bloodline. Really good stuff there, and I cannot wait to see where they go with that. And kind of if this is a show that ends the year, what a way to end it. It's like, this is what I mean. There's no extra show in December anymore. This is it. So we're not going to get anything until the Royal Rumble in 2023. So this is the end of their shows, and so that is cool. So if we're going to give it, I'll probably get 7 out of 10. I mean, maybe give it an 8 just because of that finish. But I I love this. It's really fun pay-per-view. I really enjoyed this one a lot to watch, and never got bored. It's very good paced. Everything in this was quite paced, worked quite well, and cannot wait to see what they have planned 2023. Obviously, more what else they have planned for the end of 2022. So yes, obviously this is gonna be our last WWE pay-per-view review of the year. Obviously I'll be possibly back for one more video of the year where we're going to hopefully do a retrospect of the entire wrestling world, from a lot of stuff happened in WWE, a lot of stuff happened in AEW, and maybe we'll talk about things like New Japan, maybe some stuff, basically we're just going to we're going to talk about what happened in the year of pro wrestling, and kind of talk about it really. Obviously I hope to get Josh back for it. If not, I'll see if I can try and get someone else. We can have like a friend of the podcast we can get on to talk about it. We don't know. I don't know yet. I'll figure something out. But if you want to make sure you don't miss that, so you don't miss the last thing within 2022, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Obviously, we're just stuck on 3 or 4 at the moment subscribers, so hopefully I can boost that up to try and get at least a 310 maybe before the end of the year would be a good thing to do. But yes, obviously click on the link there for if you want to make sure you have a chance to look at my AEW full gear review. But yes, obviously it's kind of if you don't do anything by any day, obviously have an awesome rest of 2022. Last month, try to stay safe and do some, and try and maybe carve a deer, seize the day as they say. Can't speak Latin apparently, but yes, obviously. Yeah, hope you do some awesome stuff. Hope you enjoyed these reviews of the year. A lot of it's been just me. So, but yeah, hope you enjoyed them. And I'll be back in one more video. I'll make sure there'll be one more video in December to wrap up the year. And then I'll see you all in 2023. So, I've been Stuart Irvine. Hope you enjoyed this review. And enjoy the rest of your week. So, bye everyone. Bye. Bye.